Buenas tardes, mis amigos. Please support your local food bank, drug and alcohol center. If you're new to my channel, soy Pastor de la Calle, and on first importance, no little lies. Viewer discretion is advised. We're talking about CSA in this video. Now, I have been praying for the main alleged Jane Doe and her family, prayer and fasting for 2 years, and she has gone public, so we are going to keep her in prayer on my channel at first importance. Now, we also praying for the advocate group. They stood in the gap. They had the Charisma magazines, the biggest platforms, run with a crisis manager. They were getting online threats. The families were. Harassment. The main alleged Jane Doe, all right, Debrah, is getting doxxed with her emails. Now, we stood in the gap, and I advocated for a third-party investigation now for 2 years. In fact, it's on my website. So if you're watching my video, hello. You know that I've been following the IHOP. If you even Google my name pops out advocating for a third party in regards to IHOPKC. I have a 4-minute clip that we're going to play, and then I'll be right back. So I'll be right back in about 3 or 4 minutes.
Like when anyone talks about my courage, I want to say it was an army of us, guys. It was an army, and we all went to war. We've gone to war every day. It's kingdom clashing against kingdom. This isn't about exposing just sexual sin. This is a system of evil and a system of darkness. And men and women showed up, showed up day after day, and were so full of that courage to stand for righteousness.
And we need the old guard who's been calling Absaloms and nothing burgers. And
that is such a nothing burger. I can't believe these people made such a big deal out of that. Now, I'm not saying there's not something behind all this, but I think we're going to call it a nothing burger when it finally all comes out.
And if you read in the Old Testament, you may recall there was a son, Absalom, and he went on the edge of town and he would listen to people's evil reports, and it was something that he would use against his father David. It's devastating, it's destructive, it's very dangerous.
Is this really an affair or not? That's bogus. Real discerning church leaders know that's bogus.
But it happened 24 years ago, so how long does that disqualify someone, especially when he has obviously repented and moved on?
We need to get the church back, and we need help right now from our older brothers and sisters who have been there and not calling Absaloms and nothing burgers. This is disgraceful. The church, this is why we need revival right now. It's an indictment to the entire prophetic and prayer communities that we were not able to deal with this. And we need help right now.
He admitted to being a 40-some-odd-year-old man pursuing a 19-year-old little girl. Would you agree with me that that's clergy abuse?
Again, it depends on what the facts show. Here's why that's important, Joel, because
if he kissed her, would you consider that clergy abuse?
I can't comment on that.
Okay,
I'm not an attorney.
So you can't, no, you can't tell me that you're here with integrity and that you're not spinning if you can't agree with me as a man. Do you have daughters?
No.
All right, I have 4 daughters. If I sent my daughter to this place and Mike Bickle, a 40-some-odd-year-old man, took her to Europe, gave her alcohol, and kissed her, and entered into a relationship with her for years, you tell me you're a man and you say I have to know the context or the facts. I'm not a lawyer.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Personally, when I was there, I never actually saw evidence of spiritual or sexual abuse at IHOPKC. Personally, when I was there, I never actually saw evidence of spiritual or sexual abuse at IHOPKC.
I'm watching it right now to happen to leaders online. There is what I call a failure porn cartel. All right?
Failure porn.
Failure porn. A lot of people are addicted to it.
Thank you for showing up to watch my video. I love you. I do this on my free time. I'm a street pastor new to my channel. I'm not a professional YouTuber. In fact, I just made a major mistake. I had to shut down my whole live stream because I had no audio and my lights were all wrong. But I'm back now. Now, let's get into this video. So I'm going to show you right off the bat what's going on here, right? Well, the Bible, but I'm going to show you right here is the source for this video we're going to break down. I have 126 people watching. I had 17 people like my video. Yes. 17. More people see my video when you just click that little button. Helps with the algorithm. Now here it is here. Right here. God bless Debrah. Praise the Lord. Now this is Julie Roy's, the Roy's Report. And this video just came out 4 hours ago. It's been seen 12,000 times. We'll put a thumbs up on that video. Now, we're going to close that up. So if you want to watch the whole entire video, under the law of fair use and public domain, I can't just, if I could, I'd just download the video and let you watch it. But it's Julie's video, so I can't do that. So I've taken a whole entire hour and I made it into 3 little clips. So I encourage my viewers to see the whole video. As well as we're going to look at social media, because this is what she just posted 4 hours ago. This is breaking news. And if you're new to my channel, I follow breaking stories, and I give you a Christian perspective, because there's a lot of creeps and scumbags inside of the charismatic community that are out targeting, covering, protecting, calling people that are advocates. In one example, well,
like when you finish that this year, no one is purpose to really, they love to see people
Tell
fall.
what that expression means.
Well, one, it's a triggering statement. So again, if people are triggered, they can go get an adult coloring book and get a safe space, and they can do whatever they need to do. It's basically, there is something within all of us.
so he's the one that came up with the failure porn, the most scumbaggery, evil, putrid, vomited people online advocate and to do exposure ministries. Now, he's also been throwing shade on the advocate group and the investigation, a third party. We've got a whole bunch of senior leaders and pastors advocating for a third party investigation in the case of IHOPKC. Then you got a whole bunch of other guys that are doing horrible things online. You better believe I've taken it personal. Now, and he's come up, that was a man named Dr. Malachi. He's a social media influencer and being part of the IHOPKC debacle, always throwing shade, even to this date, this year even. There's a third-party investigation coming out, Firefly, this evening. Well, we could probably do that first. We'll do that first. This is my social media. Thank you, my friends, liking that. This is it here. The investigation's coming out right here. Oh, no, that's not it. The investigation's here it is. Here's Kelly. She's a friend of mine. God bless her and her husband and her family. Tonight around 8 p.m. Eastern, a formal third-party investigation results regarding IHOPKC and its leader will be made public. All right, I'll do a video, and it's also going to be accessed on my website if you want to go out, read it. But we're going to do some videos about it, as well as there's a part 2 regarding the main alleged Jane Doe, Debrah. Those of us who suffered abuse during our time, they're counting down the hours. A lot of people are involved. Thousands of people have signed the petition. I encourage you and me to give ourselves time to process whatever is coming. For me, I'm not sure I will feel like justice is being served until Mike Bickle is in handcuffs, along with anyone else in leadership who has also abused or hid the abuse going on around them. Now, this is her post. So in fairness to her, I'll finish reading this. I also encourage you to share your feelings when you're not ready. A lot of people watch my channel, have been following me for years, and been praying for everyone at IHOPKC, and even the Bickle family on my channel, in a safe space and safe people who know how to respond to trauma. If you need suggestions for that, please let us know, and I will point you to the right place. So Kelly's offering herself as a resource, he's an advocate and a survivor. Lastly, no one matter what you need, read Nothing nullifies or minimizes your own experience. No one gets to tell you how to feel. This is true and isn't how or to respond, and that makes you credible. Your story counts, it matters, because be gentle with yourself as we wait. Watch a funny movie, go outside and put your bare feet in the grass. In my case, the snow. The snow. It's snowing out here in Canada. Unless you have snow, and then you may be in that case. In fact, I can prove it. I took this picture today. That's right there, allegedly. That is a snowflake falling on the ground. That's Brother John. I took that picture about an hour ago. Oh, what happened? Where did I lost everything. Oh, there I am. All right. Now, and then maybe in that case, just make yourself a snow cone. You deserve it. When we are together and we see through it, and the end, sending love and light to you all. Heart. You're in my live video. God bless you. All right, now let's just get into this video. And the source of the video, I've already showed it to you, as well as this is got it right up here. This is the podcast. This is episode 1 out of 2. Mike Bickle's primary Jane Doe comes forward. This is a video. Now here it is. Her story of alleged CSA abuse by Mike Bickle, founder. Remember, no little eyes. Viewer discretion is advised. What we're about to watch. Very revealing. Rocked the Christian community and IHOPKC permanently separate from Bickle 15 months ago. Then she was known simply as the primary Jane Doe, but on this edition of Roy Report, she reveals her identity for the first time, and she tells everyone eye-opening details for her story. She didn't have anonymity because there was a bunch of creeps on the internet, on social media, doxing her, pretty much from right off the hop. Her personal emails, her name. We protect on my channel, but she was already being doxed all over social media. So, and God bless her. We have planned to release the podcast months ago. Oh, okay. I'm just finding this out now. So this was done months ago. But the Jane Doe had some health issues, and we weren't ready if she was able to do the podcast recorded. Okay. However, just a couple weeks ago, she had a remarkable turnaround. Praise the Lord. And now, only that we're able to record the podcast this Saturday, February 8th. But this Saturday, February 8th, okay, the woman known as Jane Doe will be on the stage of Restore Conference. I was actually invited to this by a friend. If they're watching right now, que Dios te bendiga. But sadly, I couldn't make it. All right, so there it is there. Let's get into this video. Now, we're going to go right to the video. And
Conference in California.
Okay, here it is.
Mike Bickle.
All ready?
Mike Bickle, you met him when you were 12, is that correct?
Yeah.
Talk about how he groomed your family.
So my dad went to a conference in California. It was a vineyard conference, and Mike Bickle was a speaker. My dad is a Nazarene pastor. We grew up conservative, evangelical, and we just were curious to what God was doing in the charismatic world. We were unfamiliar with that world. And so his first experience was hearing Mike and John Wimber and Paul Cain at a vineyard conference in 1989. And I was 12 at the time. My dad came home. He actually saw signs and wonders at this conference. It was powerful. And Mike was this winsome, this big personality, but like approachable. And so my dad had gone up to Mike at the conference and just started asking Mike questions, which turned into them going to a couple lunches together, which was unusual favor, right? And so my dad came home from this conference jazzed. He had met this man, Mike Bickle, and God was moving in ways that we didn't know. And so we loved so much about Mike. He loved the word, and he loved the spirit. And so it was this combination. And then, he was just winsome and easy to talk to, approachable. And, yet he was a world leader, and he showed my dad such favor and kindness. And, so it really changed the trajectory of my whole family. Soon after that, we moved to Oklahoma, and my dad again took a pastor role there at a Nazarene church. And we would then drive to Kansas City anytime we could to listen to Mike his teaching. And so I remember the first time I heard Mike, it was on the life of David, and I'm 12 years old. And he was talking about David being chased by Saul and going from cave to cave. And I remember just really touched by the way that Mike seemed to know Jesus. And I, as a 12-year-old, I went up to him after the message, and I told him how powerful the message was and how it touched my heart. And of course, that's when it starts, and, he just lights up, and he starts to just like lavish on me of just, oh my, you're dad's daughter. And, and he would just I've wanted to meet you ever since I met with your dad. And, and so then it would lead to us having dinner together with his family, or us just in his office. So, and we just couldn't believe it. He was our new hero in the faith. And we had favor. And so anytime we would come to town, we got time with this man. And so that went on for many years before I actually moved to Kansas City.
Yeah. So that was, you're 12. I mean, part of me would say, did he really have interest in you when you were 12? But then we know now, Tammy Woods, her abuse started when she was 14. So that's not outside the realm of possibility. But it was 7 years later, when you were 19, that you moved to Kansas City. And at this point, he's at Metro Christian Fellowship.
We're going to keep going, but if you haven't heard who we've been praying for, Tammy Woods on my channel as well. This is Eric Voles here. Now, Tammy Woods, this is a Kansas City star. Woman says IHOPKC founder. Sexual, all right, essay, when she was 14 years old. Now, this went across on mainstream. This is not a Christian magazine. This is Kansas City Star. Hopefully my audio's still on. As well as, why isn't my computer working? Hello. Sorry. As well as, do you see this? This is an International House of Prayer. Grieving together. We'll get back to the video. Remember, no little lies on this video. We're talking about adult stuff here. All right. This could be triggering. That's why I say that, because if you are a survivor, like I am a survivor, this can be very triggering. All right. So, and it's hard. It's a hard subject. Words cannot express anger and shock. We believe that Mike Bickle, S.A.'d, and manipulated Jane Doe, which you're listening to the video, and Tammy Woods, who was a minor at the time. This is Eric Voles. Eric Voles, in this video right here, says he saw no spiritual abuse. He was the crisis manager. None. No evidence of spiritual abuse or essay. IHOPKC, the one that hired him, say, we believe Mike Bickle essayed and manipulated Jane Doe and Tammy Woods, who was a minor at the time. His predatory and abusive actions are sick and violate the word of God, the marriage covenant, and holiness. We condemn them in entirety. This man, of course, is going on in 2025, and that's what he's claiming on Eric Meneka's shows. It's pinned to the top of his page, as well as he's put it in writing. There's Malachi, and they're casting shade on the next. And why are they doing this? And I've said a long time, why are they doing this? Well, in religious institutions and systems, when you accept somebody as your prophet, they're not pretending. When you're dealing with spiritual delusion, in the case of Mike Bickle, zoom, flying to heaven, zoom, into a chariot. If you haven't followed all of it, his false prophecies, once tested, came out that he just made stuff up all the time. He's a false internet prophet, totally disqualified. But of course, they're still throwing shade, Malik O'Brien, on the investigation that's going to be released today, as well as he's put it in writing. I don't know if he's deleted it yet. He's also partnered up with Department of Church Accountability in the case of Daystar. And it's about some time Julie Roy's. So Eric is very vocal on social media and enjoys attacking the female woman journalist, Julie Roy's, in her ministry, exposing these types of creeps that are inside of the ministry. That's what Eric Voles enjoys doing. And of course, he's put it in writing. So this is Eric Voles regarding the IHOPKC. All right here. And he says, to clarify a few points, what I mean to say is I never saw evidence of spiritual or SA during my time there. Here are some few examples of previous undisclosed insights of why I'm cautious about some of the advocates' claims. He's talking about the main alleged Jane Doe right here. All right, let's go back and we'll get to Malachi in a second because it's a team. And it's interesting, the main alleged Jane Doe, there's so many things that she said in that opening video where there's a spiritual war on right now. There really is. There's the charismatic industrial complex. You got millions of dollars to spend. You can hire a crisis manager to spin stuff for you. All right? In whatever institution you are, there are crisis managers out there that you can literally PR guys. They PR it. Now, let's go back to Debrah.
Right. He hasn't started the International House of Prayer, but you come on as an intern at Metro Christian Fellowship. And then the grooming became much more intentional, it sounds like. Talk about some of that grooming that Mike did with you and how it impacted you at the time.
I remember the first Sunday I had moved to town. He came up to me at church and he said that he had dreamed about me. Well, I'm Nazarene background, so the prophetic dreams, that's a whole new world to me. And I was like, Mike Bickle had dreams about me. Wow. But he would just talk about the sovereignty of God, that I was now here and he knew I would one day move here. And so it was just this grandiose, awesome, like the big story of God, but then my part to play in it. And he was going to help me,
And now
you can go on to watch. I can't play the whole video. I'll get hit with a copyright. It's Julie Royce's video and interview. I'm just doing, under law of fair use and public domain, I'm allowed to do commentary on some of it. Now, the next one is her Paris trip. And that's where we're going to get into Eric Voles again, the PR guy, and Joel Richardson. So I'm going to play straight through without any interruptions. She's going to talk about how she went to Paris with Mike Bickle.
Now you were having a lot of contact with him before, but I'm guessing as his personal assistant, you're having, just seeing him probably every day for several hours a day.
Yes, I saw him every day. And it was several hours. If I was averaging, I would say, maybe 5 hours a day. It wasn't like just at the apartment. We would meet up at different places in the city, libraries, cemeteries.
Cemeteries?
Yeah, kind of creepy, but really creepy. But he knew that no one would go there. And so it was a place we could go, because people knew Mike in the city. So there was, he kind of had his stomping grounds of where he thought it would be safe to go. Now I know that, there were several women all along. So I'm wondering if he had different places he took me to but yeah, so it was really unfortunate that he was in between being the lead pastor of Metro Christian Fellowship and starting the International House of Prayer. Because in 97, 98, and 99, he had told all of his, staff and accountability people that he was in some kind of transition, which afforded him all of this time with no accountability with me. I remember when IHOP started, how I was so relieved because not only did he now have a full-time job, but it was 24/7. So it started to dwindle how much time we would ever have to get alone together.
And he gave you a key to his office. Was that at this stage, or was that later when he had started the International House of Prayer?
I had a key in the very beginning, like 1996.
And did any other interns have a key to his office, or was that just you?
I think it was just me. I had a friend that he said I could bring her with my key. So that was a thing. It's a thing that we've watched with all of the different women that have come forward, is keys to his office, keys to his hotel room. I mean, he gives keys.
So then he goes to Europe and takes you and several other people, a team of about 5 of you, right?
There was 5 women, and then there was 1 male.
He always had women, didn't he? Always women around him. And then that is when things really began to turn to an overt sexual nature. Would you describe what happened on that trip?
So we were in several places in England and France. Our final day was going to be in Paris, and it was going to be our free day. So we were doing book tables. We were staying with host families. But in Paris, he was going to get a hotel. Now, we were in Paris for 2 nights. And the first night I was with my girlfriends that were my age in a hotel. The next night was different. And so let me just describe that day. We were taking a tour of Paris, and we had a tour guide. And suddenly we're crossing the street at the Louvre, and suddenly there's no Mike. And all of us are just looking everywhere. I mean, it was literally like a suddenly. And we're like, where did he go? And the rest of the day we spent looking for him. And you can only imagine that we got crabby. It became this weird, who knows Mike the best. And it was an awful day. And so we finally, and I still don't remember how we knew where we were to go to the hotel. This is before cell phones, but we went to this really shady hotel in a shady part of town. And Mike has this sinister smile on his face when we walk in. And he's like, he actually says, scolds us for if you really knew me, you would know that I would have stayed in the same place all day.
We're going to keep going. I just got to add some commentary. The investigation that's going to be released. I've always wondered about this because it's a third-party investigation. So those flights will be documented. The hotel, I don't know, we'll see what the investigation produces. I have no idea what's going to come out, but there has to be some type of record for all of this. Who traveled? All right. I'm just adding a little commentary. God bless Debrah.
Said, I stayed at the Louvre all day and waited for you guys. And we're like, we were there. We were just all so confused. But then he's going to save the day. And he tells us that he's used his honorarium money to buy us each a hotel room. Which, I'm thinking, I don't want my own hotel room. But that's what happened. And so I went to my hotel room. And again, you know, Paris, Europe, it's really small. And as soon as I walk in, the landline, the phone rings, and it's Mike. And he says, "Hey, let's meet at the restaurant across the street." And again, if I was thinking clearly, I would have not said yes, but I wasn't at this time. And so I met him at the restaurant. And I remember he got us a couple rounds of cocktails. And
had you ever drunk before? Like you said, you're raised Nazarene, probably teetotaler, right?
I had only had a glass of wine in Europe on my, I did a discipleship training school with Youth with a Mission. And they told us if our host family serves wine, you drink it. So I had a glass of wine before this.
So basically, he knows that you don't know how to handle alcohol. You're very young.
Yep. And so, you know, I can still remember the restaurant, where he's sitting, where I'm sitting. The next thing I remember is we are walking just to the alleyway right next to that restaurant. And that is where he began to kiss me. And I don't mean just like kiss, like it was just full on. And, yeah. And then that's where I don't remember. The next thing that I remember was waking up the next day in my hotel room. And I remember not being okay. Like, I'm out of sorts. My brain is fuzzy. It's not like I'm sick. I'm not, but I'm just not okay. I have my clothes on. But that's the day that we're going to go to the airport to come back to Kansas City. And so I'm just, the whole time I was even like carrying my luggage on cobblestone streets and to get to the train station. I'm just trying to, okay, act normal. And I remember by the time we got on the airplane, I was fine. And I just remember being okay. Like, I'm so glad I made it. And so, yeah, that was the first time I remember him sexual abuse.
And that came to IHOP that seemed to get his attention. Did you get at the time, though? I mean, you're seeing these things, but you didn't really, you kind of thought you were the only one for a long time, correct?
I thought I was the only one. And I think that's the biggest shock to me now, is because I saw so much, I confronted him on so much. Why didn't I just fully go there? I just never, they say it takes, especially the level of trauma that I experienced and the sophistication of it, it takes many years before you can unearth that trauma and remember, even just scientifically where it goes in our brain.
So I don't talk about it much. In fact, until the main alleged Jane Doe, Debrah, until Mike Bickle, when she spoke out, and I read that Roy's report and I started following this, I never had spoken about what happened to me publicly. I think it was either I was 14 or I was 15 years old. I was a runaway. So I am a survivor myself. And when she's talking about, it was locked in a compartment in my head. I never even thought about until I'm an old guy now. I'm losing my hair. I'm an old man. It was as if it happened to me yesterday. It was locked up inside of me. And I've had to process it over the last 2 years. But, you know, I was just a little kid. I was a little teenager. And it was a violent man, you know, a rapist, you know. And so, because she spoke out, it has helped me as well. And she's right.
That I experienced and the sophistication of it, it takes many years before you can unearth that trauma and remember, even just scientifically where it goes in our brain.
So you kind of suppressed the memories for a long time.
Yes, I It was not there. I mean, so after some of my friends were coming around that first apartment, he didn't like it because he was there a couple times. And so he then got another apartment that was 5 miles further down the freeway. And so I didn't live at that apartment, but I would meet him at that apartment. And now it almost feels like a horror film. You know, it was in this really gross part of town, and it was dirty, and there's no furniture. It's just like, it's dark. But anyway, that was in 97. I think, and then my dad got us the house in 98. So.
And this whole time, even there were some times when you met him at a hotel, it seems like the line he didn't cross with you and with Tammy Woods is there was never intercourse. It would never, everything but not that. In some way of thinking, did he think that somehow made him more chaste?
So I didn't know this until 2023. After I had woke up, I was talking to a friend, and this friend, it's a trusted friend. We were at Starbucks, and she's looking around to make sure. And I'm like, what is she about to say? And she said, did Mike Bickle ever do anything physical to you? And this was like, I've just told Murray at this point, right? And I'm like, oh, but I start to cry and I start to shake, but I tell her my story and tears are streaming down her face. And she says to me, I have permission to tell you and to tip my hat off to you that there's a current woman. And if my shelf hadn't broke already, I just wept for weeks and weeks at the horror of this. And so soon after that, I found out this woman told my friend that Mike had said to her that Bob Jones told Mike that he could do anything he wanted with a woman except intercourse and keep his mantle.
Wow. And it makes you wonder the level of his own self-deception. I mean, deception is always a part of a predator's behavior. Obviously he was deceiving you constantly, and deceived many others, but there's this self-deception. I mean, that he could think that he could behave this way with multiple women, betray them, betray their families, betray God, destroy lives, entire lives. Like, you went on to have a life. We know people who have not gone on to have a life, whose entire lives have been destroyed by Mike Bickle. And he can think that because there wasn't intercourse, that he has a mantle. It's just, that is absolutely shocking. And yet not in the sense that this is what we know now. I mean, the more stories I do, the more the profile of a predator becomes more clear.
All right, you can go watch this whole video. I am sort of done this video. I'm going to the gym to go work out, but I wanted to get this out. There's going to be another one, and I thought it was interesting regarding Mr. Bob Jones. Now, as far as I understand, he repented for having the women get nude inside of his office. And Mike Bickle said that he wouldn't ever speak at IHOPKC again. But Morningstar, of course, got him back on the platform, as well as there's lots of videos with him on Bethel Church.
Him at a hotel.
And I start to shake, but I told my friend that Mike had said to her that Bob Jones told Mike that he could do anything he wanted with a woman except intercourse and keep his mantle.
Wow.
Yeah. So Jada is a Canadian here in Canada. I've been a Christian for 10 years, learning so much on this channel. Thank you very much. Deception is unreal with this so-called Christian. Yeah, and if you make it on my channel, I go after the hyper extreme internet false prophets. Now we're going to be looking. I think if in total. Oh, we talked to. So we're going to listen to this one more time.
Bickle has sexually.
So this is the audio. Now, if you didn't, I played this at the beginning of it, and I'll give you the context. All right. So, well, the context is that Eric Voles has done grievous harm in this particular case because he was in charge of the crisis management, and even to this day, he's going on these are big channels saying it's very interesting how this attack came against Mike Bickle the same time Hamas terrorists. All right, this is a horrendous thing that happened with Israel. It's it's hard for me to even comprehend how Eric Voles is saying this. It's on the done commentary on the Eric Menecke's show that the same time that Hamas terrorists has invaded and murdered and kidnapped the Israelis coincide with Mike Bickle getting exposed by all of the women. Can you see how this is? And that's where it is I'm starting to understand how Eric Voles, this is his thing here with, we'll listen to this audio in a second. We'll also go to I have a few other videos I want to look at, but this is Eric Voles. And this is the one that did the crisis management. And what I understand is, according to Jonathan Lamb, from an inside source, Eric Voles is now involved with the crisis management at Daystar, and I think it's very revealing that he's reposting this Department of Church and Accountability, and they're very vocal regarding Daystar. And even right to this day, he's got pinned to the front of his website, this is his ex-Twitter account, pinned to the top of his website, equating what happened. Remember, this is what God has done. God is the one. Mike Bickle had lots of time to do this right. Get right with the Lord. Make things right. And God is very slow to anger and patient. This is all exploded across mainstream news now. His ministry, he'll never be in ministry again, ever. Well, he shouldn't have been in ministry to begin with. It should have all went back. Somebody should have confronted him right at the beginning. And the police, of course, if you are involved with any type of SA, you go straight to the police at first importance. Bring somebody with you. Tell somebody. Now this man, the front of his pinned to the top of his thing with Eric Menecke, he's saying that the Hamas terrorists that went and kidnapped Israelis is the same as what happened to IHOPKC and Mike Bickle. It coincided on the same time frame. Anyways, so this is the audio we're going to play, and then we'll play one more video. I'm going to share with you one of the most incredible videos that in this whole fiasco that I believe is happening.
Use somebody.
Well, it's all incredible. This is about 4 minutes. We'll listen to this. I've already played this. We're going to play it one more time because this video, this live stream is going to go on my website.
Ever required. Like, that's not what God's called me to. My method is I get the facts, and once you know you're on the right side of the equation, if you don't quit, you win. In this case, I don't know what the truth is yet. Okay? So I want you to look at me while I'm talking to you, okay?
Yeah.
Brother, if I see evidence that Mike Bickle has sexually abused somebody, I will be front and center, part of the people that will take him down in a biblical way.
Okay.
I don't know what that means because I don't know what the facts are yet. Just let me finish. Okay, that's my first point.
Yeah.
The second point is this has to be done in stages. It can't be like full court press, let's destroy IHOP, and I don't think that's what you're saying.
I have no desire to destroy it.
I understand, but that's how it's being translated, and the things that are being communicated from the group of people that believe that Mike is a monster. They're saying that IHOP needs to be reformed, and maybe that's true. And to be honest, there's a lot of stuff here that's really dysfunctional. I'll be the first one. I noticed that, and I knew that about this place before this even happened. So the challenge is that it has to be done in stages. If there are victims of abuse, that needs to be addressed first.
Let's address that. I don't think anyone's claiming that he has sexually abused someone in the sense of violent sexual acts. The claim is that he is engaged in prophetic manipulation, leading to clergy sexual misconduct. Oftentimes in popular, even in some academic literature, referred to as clergy sexual abuse.
Sure.
If you use your position of power, particularly as he admitted to being a 40-some-odd-year-old man pursuing a 19-year-old little girl, would you agree with me that that's clergy sexual abuse?
Again, it depends on what the facts show. Here's why that's important, Joel, because
If he kissed her, would you consider that clergy sexual abuse?
I can't comment on that. I'm not an attorney.
So you can't, no, you can't tell me that you're here with integrity and that you're not spinning if you can't agree with me as a man. Do you have daughters?
No.
All right, I have 4 daughters. If I sent my daughter to this place and Mike Bickle, a 40-some-odd-year-old man, took her to Europe, gave her alcohol, and kissed her, and entered into a sexual relationship with her for years, you tell me you're a man and you say, I have to know the context or the facts. I'm not a lawyer.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That is what you just said.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That is what you just said.
I said I don't want to comment on that because I don't know the facts of it.
All right, we have nothing to talk about. If we can't agree with basic morality, simple morality, then yes, you're a spin doctor and you're not here for the cause of the Lord. You're not here in the fear of the Lord. If you can't say that a 40-some-odd-year-old internationally respected minister engaging in a sexual relationship with a 19-year-old girl is not clergy sexual misconduct or abuse, then we have no conversation. And I am your enemy.
You're not my enemy, brother.
Well, if you can't agree on that, then you are, because you're not here to fix anything.
I'm not actually here to fix anything. That's not why I'm here. I'm not here as a fixer.
Okay, I want to push this. Imagine you had a daughter. This is the language that is common within academic literature in terms of abuse. This is language that is commonly used in the litigation community, clergy, sexual misconduct or abuse. In your opinion, based on the facts, based on what Mike has said, is Mike guilty of clergy sexual misconduct, yes or no?
The reason why I'm not going to answer that is because
you're a spin doctor.
Okay, well, again, I was hoping to come to meet to try to let you look me in the face and actually use your discernment.
I just did.
Okay.
All right. So that is Eric Voles. We're getting to the bottom, and that's been my prayer from day one. When this hit back in 2023, may the whole truth, the full truth come to light. These are real people that are being harmed at IHOPKC. When I say really people, I mean thousands of people have signed up. All right, and shared testimonies and advocated. They just want to get to the truth. A safe environment for Mike Bickle, and then all of the other women to have a safe environment to present what they had, as well as the advocate group. And in between all of this, the harm that Eric Voles has done and continues to do to IHOPKC and everyone who's been suffered through this, even to this video just came out this year. And even the grieving together of IHOPKC, this is official grieving IHOPKC. All right. We believe Mike Bickle essayed and manipulated Jane Doe, all right, Debrah and Tammy Woods, who was a minor at the time, with predatory and abusive actions, are sick and violate the word of God, the marriage covenant, the holiness, and condemn them in their entirety. All right. So for proper healing and restoration to come, there's a report that's going to be released. Where it all comes down for healing and restoration is by the power of the Holy Spirit. And full disclosure, I don't hate in the slightest bit. It couldn't be further from the truth. I don't hate this man in the slightest bit. Nothing but pity for this guy. I still don't understand why he's doing this. It's beyond anything I've seen. Just because of the nature and the grievous actions of Mike Bickle, he can't see spiritual abuse. And he's still, to this day, talking about Hamas terrorists and IHOPKC in somehow correlating together in this event. This is my website. If you haven't checked out my website, I have a free resource where I have exposures and open letters. I'm an advocate, and I'm advocating in all these different spots. Here is Mike Bickle, IHOPKC. You can click that button. These are the main advocate group. This is my open letter. This is a 50-page document. These are all the different... I'm going to be including this right here. Right here, do you see this? I'm going to be including the... when this report is released, you can click a button, you can watch the report. And I'm putting the video you're watching right now right here, and I'm moving this one down. The ludicrous theology of Malachi O'Brien and Stephen Strang. And that brings me to the conclusion of this video. If you were to ask me, one of the most bizarrest things in this whole thing would be the actions of Stephen Strang. Out of Charisma magazine, the advocates are Absalom's to take down King David's throne, Eric Voles, Malachi O'Brien, all of them. That is what the most bizarre thing is for me. But one of the most bizarre videos is right here. This has got to be. And I actually got in trouble for playing this video with my viewers. Why do you playing this video? This video right here.
It's not clear.
6 or 7 of the 8 women say it's absolutely not true. And when this happened, if you had been watching me for a year, I was advocating for a third-party investigation. They started deleting my videos. They started taking down everything because Stephen Strang told them Mike Bickle was absolutely vindicated. I'm getting emails, Brother John, Mike Bickle's being vindicated. They sided with Mike Bickle because of Stephen Strang and videos like this.
Exactly what's happened. Prayer that was founded by my longtime friend Mike Bickle. And I've dealt with this a couple of times on the Strang Report, and today I'm talking to a couple of guests, but I wanted to just give you a little bit of background. First of all, it's not clear exactly what's happened. About 2 months ago, Mike Bickle was charged with some kind of clergy sexual abuse. There were supposedly 8 women. They were not named. Since then, 6 or 7 of the women have come forward and said that it's absolutely not true. In fact, if you go back and look at my podcast, I actually referenced 2 of them, which were the 2 first ones to come out. They were emphatic that they weren't true, and not only that, but in one case, the lady said that she had been solicited to come against Mike Bickle. There's one of the ladies that goes by Jane Doe.
So Stephen Strang is saying 6 or 7 of the main alleged Jane Does out of 8 have come forward and said it's absolutely not true. That's why I'm saying we have, even in Stephen Strang's videos, we had Malachi O'Brien commenting on them. We knew that the IHOPKC leadership was sending him the information before it went public, because they would post something publicly and within minutes he would be out on a live video presenting IHOPKC leadership with their crisis management. Like I reiterate, there was times these poor advocates, no wonder they got online threats. Stephen Strang went on, I got all the videos talking about there's a lot of assets involved, a lot of donations involved. Maybe the advocate groups are disgruntled former employees. They're trying to take down Daystar. They're trying to take down IHOPKC. They got it out for Mike Bickle. He's totally and absolutely innocent. 6 or 7 of the women. This is the paint the picture out of this Strang report. May the Lord's will be done in Stephen Strang's life. God bless the advocates. And thank you for watching. Thank you, my friends, for liking the videos and sharing them out. And if you have a comment or question, let me know. I did have one comment or question. Somebody said something about who is they? Who sided with Stephen Strang? So you had, well, I'll show you right now. It's a good comment question. So we have Malcolm O'Brien right from day one. Right from day one. Stephen Strang came on and started talking about the failure porn theology. He says, I have a friend, and right from day one, Malcolm O'Brien posted, and Stephen Strang used that post in one of his first, if not the first video about failure porn. That was the narrative that came out of the Strand report. Forgive me if I said his name wrong. I don't hate Stephen Strang either. So the failure porn theology and how, and so there's you have Malcolm O'Brien, you have Eric Voles, you have Stephen Strang, and what is this other guy's name? What is his name? The Absalom guy. Where's the Absalom guy? That was quite a bizarre one. I wonder if I have that. Let me look if I can find it. If you haven't liked the video. I bet you I have it here somewhere. Let me see here. Thanks for everyone who stopped in to watch. If you hit the like video, I'm going to pull this other video out. I haven't watched this video since last year. We'll watch it together if I could find it. That the advocate groups are Absaloms trying to take down King David's throne theology. That came out of Charisma magazine as well. I'll let you listen to this one, and I'll look for it.
Several things happened. First of all, Mike did not really defend himself. Second of all, other victims did not come out of the woodwork. In fact, exactly the opposite has happened. And usually when there's a scandal and it comes to light, other people come out of the woodwork. Also, he did not confess. Usually when people get caught, they go ahead and just confess and then get into a defensive mode, trying to, keep their job or their ministry or whatever. None of that happened. And then there was there were apparently 8 victims, and 2 of them very quickly put on Facebook the fact that it was not true. One of them was Misty Edwards, who is very well-known worship leader. I don't have her statement in front of me. I did write it in the article I put. You can go on charismanews.com and search for it if you're interested. But there was also a lady named April Rose.
Of Prayer, Kansas City, where Mike Bickle was being called on the carpet. And you say, well, wait, I think I heard about it. What was that about? Well, there were accusations that were being brought that there was some untoward behavior on Mike's part.
This is Larry. This is Larry, and it's a fascinating theology that, and if you hadn't followed this, I got into this. Mike Bickle, of course, was King David in this portrayal. And in this little group here, you never, ever question the King David. You go after Bathsheba. Bathsheba is the one. She's the one. What was she wearing? What was Bathsheba wearing? And there was a whole thing with the special anointed David one is attacked by women. And he's doing everything he can to resist him, but Satan's using Bathsheba to take him. So we confront Bathsheba. We look at what Bathsheba's wearing. We look at her intention. Did she say something? Do we look at her emails? It has to be Bathsheba. Could never be King David. This is the King David theology in the hyper-extreme charismatic community. And if you're new to Christianity, Bathsheba was innocent. She was an innocent girl. She was married at the time, and King David was on the rooftop. And of course, he should have been at war. Usually the men go out to war. He was the king, but he stayed behind. He's on top of the roof. He looks over. He sees Bathsheba. She's totally innocent. So David took Bathsheba and ended up killing her husband, and God put judgment on King David's house. Then we have Solomon. But of course, in this theology, Mike Bickle is King David. So I'll back that up to give you the context of it. And this all comes out of Charisma magazine. Oh, sorry.
Now, are you familiar?
Oh, I've forgotten about this. And also the advocate group are going to go into the hottest part of hell theology as well. Very similar to Perry Stone. So Dante's Inferno, they're going to be tortured to the most horrible, hottest part of hell. That's reserved for, for the advocate group, because they were trying to take down King David's throne. Fascinating study.
City where Mike Bickle was being called on the carpet. And you say, well, wait, I think I heard about it. What was that about? Well, there were accusations that were being brought that there was some untoward behavior on Mike's part and that there would need to be an investigation. Now, I don't know if you remember the TV show Twilight Zone. Well, on there was an episode once where these alien beings came and they took on the bodies of human beings, citizens. And what they did is they brought about a campaign of personal and collective destruction by sowing evil reports, scandalous reports and slander. And they whispered things. People began to believe them. And all of a sudden, the whole town was in an uproar and there was division. And the aliens were on a hillside gleefully laughing at what they had caused. Do you know that in the classic book Dante's Inferno, there's levels of hell that he talked about? You might say, what was at the very bottom, the worst? You know what it was? It was reserved for those who engage in treachery and betrayal. Paul faced it. Jesus faced it. I have faced it. Maybe you have. You find out who your friends are when you go through something like this. So what Mike is facing right now is really the importance of accountability. Let's take a look at this, discern what's right, what's wrong, and then we want to glorify God in the process. Now, are you familiar with the term evil report? Let me give you a definition and let me ask you this. What causes separation of close friendships and a root of bitterness to spring up that will defile a whole church and a ministry? What causes division in organizations, in families, churches, ministries? You know what it is? The answer is simply an evil report. Now you say, Larry, what is an evil report? Well, I'm going to read a definition from Mr. Bill Gothard. And if you read in the Old Testament, you may recall there was a son, Absalom. And he went on the edge of town and he would listen to people's evil reports. And it was something that he would use against his father David. It's devastating. It's destructive. It's very dangerous.
So there it is there. That's Larry and part of Charisma Magazine. The Absalom's trying to take down King David's, the bad report. All this was breaking when the news came out. So we had, and when I got involved with this, the first thing I did was I started investigating who are the advocates. I didn't know who they were. To get a better understanding of what was going on. But the first thing I saw was Alan Hood, and I looked at it. He had it right on the front of his website. So I looked into Alan Hood. Turns out he's got a beautiful family. And he was part of IHOPKC. He helped create the whole thing. Then I was like, well, wait a second, what exactly is going on? And as I'm investigating Alan Hood, Wes Martin, Dean Brian Kinn, Dwayne Roberts, Charisma started putting out all this information, and everything was in the dark. And I said at the beginning of it, I kept saying, somebody's behind all this. I remember saying that quite a few times. Like, there's somebody's coordinating all of this. And all of a sudden, bloop, they'd have these little media packets come up. I was like, who is writing these media packets, and how is this all getting coordinated? And then bloop, all this doxing, the main alleged Jane Doe, all right, Debrah. There all of a sudden private emails were getting leaked online. I was like, someone's behind. What is going on with all of this? There's got to be somebody behind the scenes. And then all of a sudden, Eric Voles appeared and said he was the crisis manager, and that's where it all sort of flipped into place. And now we're in 2025, and I can see quite clearly exactly what happened. Everybody can. And that's where it is in the Bible. It says, I'm just going to end this with a Bible verse, and I'll answer some questions and comments, and then I'm headed off to the gym. Beware the leaven of the Pharisees. In the meantime, when so many thousands of people had gathered together that they were trampled one another, he began to say to his disciples first, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. Little droplets of poison, all right? A little bit of leaven, and that's, you're making bread with the leaven. It's just a little, smallest little leaven, and it puffs everything up, which is hypocrisy. Nothing covered up that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. Therefore, what you have said in the dark shall be heard in the light, and what you have whispered in the private room shall be proclaimed on the rooftops. We don't know. We still don't know what was said in those back rooms. How this all came about, the meeting places, A lot of money was put into this crisis management team. We don't know. There was a lot of backroom deals or meetings, or definitely a lot of exchange of information that we don't know yet. We can see a picture of it. It's starting to become clearer and clearer what's happening. All right? And what you have whispered in the private room shall be proclaimed on the rooftops. I tell you, my friends, do not fear the one who can kill the body, and after have nothing more to do with you. But I warn you, whom to fear. Fear him who has killed, has the authority to cast you into hell. Yes, I tell you, fear him. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies, and not the one who is forgotten before God? Why, even the hairs of your head are numbered. Fear not, you are more valuable than sparrows. What Jesus is saying is, in this Bible verse, is to fear him after he has killed, has the authority to cast you into hell. Yes, I tell you, fear him. A good, healthy fear of God is the beginning of wisdom and knowledge. I find that in Proverbs. Right? A healthy fear of God. When you fear God, you don't have to fear anyone else. When you kneel and bow and serve the true King of Kings and Lord of Lords, there is no more fear of man, because you know who your Father is. Today is the day of salvation. I always share the gospel on my channel. If you're on the wide path of destruction, leading to hell, eternity in a lake of fire, that's what hell is. Gnashing of teeth, eternal sed or thirst. There's a consequence for living in habitual sin. Christianity is not a license to sin. If you are lusting with your eyes or whatever you're doing at night, living in rebellion to God, God sees everything. Now is the day of salvation. Praise the Lord. God sees everything. So if you are what we call as a prodigal son or daughter, or a backslidden, here's the Bible. 1 John says, if you claim to be without sin, you deceive yourself, and the truth is not in you. But if you confess your sin, he is faithful and just to forgive your sin and purify you from all unrighteousness. If you're a new Christian, God will empower you. There's a heresy called sinless perfectionism. I am not a sinless perfectionism teacher. I teach the Lord's Prayer. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses or our sins. It's a daily walk, a walk of repentance and obedience, a joy-filled life with an eternal reward. So I'll end this with this. All right? Hell was not created for you, my friend. It's created for Satan and his angels. The Bible tells us that in Matthew 31:41. Jesus will say, depart from you who are cursed into eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. Hell was not created for you. It's created for Satan. That's why the Father sent his only Son. First, we'll go to Romans 9:10. It says, if you confess with your mouth Jesus is the Lord, and believe in your heart God raised him from the dead, you shall be saved. Grace and faith in Christ alone. If you pray and get right with God, I'm your brother. I love you. And I do these videos in my free time. And now I'm going to work out at the gym. If anyone has a question, let me know in the comments. And that's it. How's my audio today? Is my audio a little bit better? Good to hear. Thank you. I'm sorry to hear that, Pam. God bless you. I pray the Lord strengthen you, heal you. Sorry to hear that. To my moderators, there was a lot of chat in the chat box that weren't related to my video. I'm reading my comments. That there's a lot of chat going on about the organic lemon juice. When you drink the water, the taste buds only like the bittersweet strawberries aftertaste. So what I understand, and I do it as well, as when I listen to people full time, you develop these little friendships. So then you just started talking about it, and there's whole entire conversations going on completely not about and that's fine. That's fine. About my video. But it was a little distracting today because everyone has got the home remedies. I'm talking about some really serious things. And I was like, why are they talking about that? But I love you. It's all right. Thank you to my moderators that come in every day. Very encouraging to me. I love you. Imagining hiring a Christian crisis manner that doxes. Well, it's unclear. It's unclear. Well, forgive me. Retract, delete, backwards. Yeah, Eric Vols doxed. This is why I have this right here. Guess why I have right there. Do you see that? In fact, I did a whole video about it. That's the 50-page document. And how do I have this? How do I have it? And that's another thing. That's another thing in this whole case. Such a crazy thing that you have a whole bunch of senior leaders. Wes Martins is a senior pastor of a humongous church, godly guy, great sense of humor. He's been encouraging to me. So Wes, if you watch this video, God bless you. But why would he? He has a whole entire ministry. These are senior leaders and pastors that were concerned about what happened at IHOPKC. So they got together, they wrote down this 50-page documented report, and in confidence and trust, they placed it into the hands of the leadership of IHOPKC. So how do I have this on my website? All right. Why is this right here on my website? Yeah, Eric Vols. Eric Vols takes this sensitive, precious document of concerns and posts it on X. Who in his right mind would ever do that? Who would ever do that? It's some crazy loco that would ever do that. Why would he ever do that? Well, it's interesting because we're in the Daystar situation right now. What it did do, and if it was, I don't pretend to know what's going on in Eric Vols' mind, but what it did do was it triggered a whole bunch of events. When he started posting and doxing private information in regards to the 50-page, like he did lots, it triggered social media response. And then guess what happened? IHOPKC says we're shutting her all down. They're shutting down the investigation. The advocate groups are liars. And it was an emotional roller coaster for me watching all of this, because everybody was hoping the best for Eric Vols. We're all praying for him. Come on, Eric. Everyone just looking for the truth and get to the bottom of it. And it was, but praise the Lord. The Lord worked with me too on that. Let's go all the way back to, a lot of, if you think about it, if the advocates hadn't spoken out, it all goes back to Debrah. She's given voices and strength to people that are being harmed in the church. And if she hadn't spoken, Mike Bickle would still be behind these double-locked peephole doors of his office. If you haven't watched that video, where is it? Where's the double-locked peephole deadbolt door? It's such a bizarre. He's in this fire hazard right here. Deadbolt peephole hazard. I call IHOPKC. He had these deadbolts. You see this? I couldn't figure this one out for the life of me either, because he's got these double-locked deadbolt peephole doors. If there was a fire, nobody could get in here. It was a public safety hazard. Do you see? Look he's got these doors. And now we found out today that Debrah had the key to his double-lock peephole doors. And I did this whole video explaining, see, this is a fire door. This is a fire, because I'm a carpenter by trade. Do I have anybody still watching? And I did a whole investigation. This is Google. So I followed this very closely. And what I understand is it's fixed now. But, if they didn't speak out, they would also, Bob Hartley. There's Mike Bickle and Bob Hartley would still be in there. And, the third woman, where's Elizabeth came out and said that there was, where's Elizabeth? Where's Elizabeth? Elizabeth Harding came out. Mike Bickle was going to become a monk video script. The third woman came out. Where's so Elizabeth had another video where she came out. I don't see it. Oh, here it is here. Allegedly, 15 to 20 documented women in this video here. This is when this is close to, Jane Doe is close to 20. And this is where Rick Joyner is still trying to get Mike Bickle back into a position of power. And Elizabeth came on. I'll share this video if you want to watch it. And she said, allegedly, 15 to 20 documented women. We're going to find out tonight. The report's going to be IHOPKC. If you want to go check this out video. Or check me out on the social media. And if you haven't subscribed to my Rumble channel, you're welcome to subscribe to my channel. I have a Rumble channel. I had 172 people like. I got 155 watching. I actually have 348 watching. I'm starting to have more on X watch me than YouTube. Where's my new Rumble channel's right here. And I have 2 people watching on Rumble. All right. And that's it. Thanks for everyone who showed up to watch. I'm done the video. Cynthia's still talking about pure organic lemon juice in the when you drink the water, then aftertaste, it looks like a bite strawberries. God bless you. Thank you, Cynthia, for all that you do in my channel and help me with my moderating. And that's it. Oh, and if you want to support my ministry, I have a place on my website. You can come here and donate to my ministry. You just click that little button. Thank you to my friends who are supporting my ministry outreach. I love you. And I am done this video. So if you have a comment or question, let me know and I'll answer it right now. If not, I am out the door. My comment section is talking about it's all right, Cynthia. I told you. Sorry, Brother John. We've been asking me about because they were being. I don't even know what that is. How to make we're trying to make the and how to make it because people being okay. So we're praying in Jesus' name. Father, heal the people that are sick and whatever the how do you say that? All right. So whatever that is, she knows what it's all about, and contact your doctor. Back. We love you, Brother John. God bless you, Joanne. It's time for Matthew. How you doing, my friend? Matthew Craig's in the house. God bless you, my friend. Have a good evening, Chrissy Bull. Medication. Always consult your doctor before you take any home remedies. I don't know anything about immunization, but it sounds like okay, here it is here. We'll look it up because I don't have a clue. How do you do this? We're going to do this right now on the fly. So I am not prescribing what is it? Oh, it's okay. So number disclaimer. I don't even like talking about this because I'm a YouTuber. I don't want somebody to go out. Always talk to your doctor 20 times. Full disclosure. What is this? It's approved by the FDA to treat people with intentional. Oh boy. And 2 conditions that caused by. Okay. So contact your doctor. I don't know anything about that. So if you're having issues, contact your doctor. Absolutely. Matthew says, make sure you talk to your doctor. You need to know what you're doing as far as medication. I recommend a doctor. So that's where it is there. Please contact your doctor. And Dina says, hello. Hee hee hee. May God richly radiant sunshine. God bless you. It's very good. You don't need prescriptions. Oh, okay. So we have somebody that knows about okay, here I have somebody else. Ivermectin. Ivermectin. Thank you, Julie. Ivermectin. So consult your doctor about ivermectin. Right. That's it. I'm done. JLo and Ray, if you're in the house, God bless you guys. I'm headed out the door. And that's it. So, may the Lord bless you, keep you strong in the faith, and remember, Brother John loves you.